Right, we shift gears and jump into the afternoon business chat, and today I'm joined by a very unusual guest. Now, have you ever seen an agricultural-based organization win a competition on tech? Well, that is the feat that Juhudi Kilimo achieved, and I'm joined by Gilbert Ambani, Chief Information Officer at Juhudi Kilimo. Gilbert, what exactly do you do at Juhudi Kilimo?
Thank you very much. Juhudi Kilimo is a microfinance institution with a social mission to provide asset financing for smallholder farmers in deep rural Kenya. And what happens is that we need to be able to elevate poverty and be able to improve on the food security, therefore meeting the Vision 2030 agenda.
Gilbert, when you talk about rural Kenya, what exactly, how different are farmers in rural Kenya from everywhere else?
You will realize one thing, that Kenya has the rural area where there are towns where we have about 20 kilometers circumference, and then you have about 100 to 200 kilometers deep into Kenya. So that area is really not accessible to financing, and that's the area we target. So we look at farmers that have 1 or even less, 1 or 2 acres, and they are really in abject poverty. Those are the farmers we target.
Gilbert, part of the things you've mentioned you're doing at Juhudi Kilimo is smallholder farming, which in essence is rural asset finance, something like enabling farmers to buy a single cow and something like that. What are the risk factors involved in this kind of venture?
What happens is that a lot of financial institutions, both the banks and the microfinance institutions, really shy away because most of the times they don't have security, they don't have collateral, and that becomes a little bit tricky business. Then you have the issue of the diseases and all the challenges around agriculture. So therefore you realize very, very few institutions would want to venture in this kind of business.
Right, Gilbert, part of the Jubilee government's mandate in regards to agriculture was the disbursement of 2 billion shillings for agribusiness and irrigation, basically. Irrigation hasn't been really embraced, especially in rural Kenya where there's subsistence farming. How do you ensure there's a link between such kind of resources, what you do, and the farmer on the ground?
Yeah, Juhudi Kilimo works with other partners on the ground, and basically we leverage on our strength in terms of asset financing and also the use of technology to be able to work with partners, government departments and other NGOs on the ground to be able to address this agenda. What we do is on the ground we have officers that are able to scan the ground and be able to bring all the partners on the table, and then we offer training to these farmers and be able to leverage on also those aspects of irrigation, ensuring water is available for the cattle and for the crop, and be able to ensure that we elevate poverty and take these farmers to the next level.
Right, Gilbert, part of the reasons why the Kenyan farmer hasn't been so successful in accessing credit has been the fact that there's no information coming from farmers and potential borrowers from financial institutions. As part of what you do, I realized was management system, and probably this is what won you the award. Kindly talk us through what exactly that entails, and how do you intend to change the farming situation for smallholder farmers in the country?
Thank you. You realize one thing, a lot of the larger population of the smallholder farmers do farming not as a business, but in terms of just peasant farming or subsistence farming, just to feed themselves. So therefore, what Juhudi is doing is trying to help them, train them, and do awareness that you can still, for example, rear a dairy cow and still have your 4 liters of milk for the family and have an additional 10 to 14 to sell to the market. So we are doing a lot of awareness. We are offering this support in terms of asset financing, and we are able to reach out to those areas that have not been reached out. Secondly, we have also removed the barriers of things like having collateral and having anything that we have to hold on before we finance. What we do is we offer, for example, the dairy cow, and this dairy cow is actually financed by Juhudi, and that cow in itself, when the farmer gets it, becomes the asset. And then in 3 months' time, probably we've given that farmer a grace period. They're able to start repaying immediately. The cow starts generating between 14 to 20 liters. So you realize, but in essence, that farmer, we moved that farmer from being a poor farmer, not just feeding themselves, but having about 10 liters to take to the market to sell. And this, in essence, is actually has worked for us.
Final question, Gilbert. How do you encourage young people to venture into agriculture and farming in this country?
In Juhudi Kilimo, and part of the reason why we have this session is that we did win an award for technology innovation. And as you can see from Africa, we were the only nation nominated globally. And this is the reason why, because we are using technology, using tablets, and we're giving young tablets, the Y generation, which is the bigger workforce today, and they are able to use it to still remain connected even while they are the villages. Young generation, we require to re-engineer how we deal with the young generation. We need to bring technology on board. We need to let them know that food security is a big concern, and we need to bring them on board to be able to help the nation outgrow this problem.
All right, Gilbert Ambani, Chief Information Officer, Juhudi Kilimo, many thanks for coming on the news desk and sharing your thoughts and views about expanding the space of agribusiness in the country.